Imagine this. You're lying in bed trying to get comfortable, and there it is again. That deep, aching pain in your shoulder that makes every position feel wrong. You shift to your side, it hurts. You roll onto your back, it still hurts. You've been through this more nights than you can count, and it's slowly stealing something far more valuable than sleep. It's stealing your independence. Combing your hair, reaching for a cupboard, putting on a shirt. Things that used to take seconds now feel like negotiations with your own body. But here's what I want you to notice right now. Most shoulder pain after 55 is not the start of a downhill slide. It's a signal. And once you learn what your shoulder is actually trying to tell you, the fix is often much simpler than you've been led to believe. Tonight, we're going to uncover the mistake that keeps so many of us stuck in pain and the simple approach that changes everything. Keep watching, because what comes next could save you months of unnecessary suffering.
But before we get to the fix, there's something most people never consider. Not all shoulder pain actually comes from the shoulder. Your neck can send pain radiating into your shoulder blade and upper arm. Even your heart can use your shoulder as a messenger. That means the first rule of shoulder pain is this: learn to tell the difference between a joint that's tired and a signal that demands attention. If your shoulder suddenly aches along with chest tightness, shortness of breath, sweating, nausea, or a wave of unusual fatigue, that is not a stretching problem. That is an emergency. But if the pain has been building gradually over weeks, and it shows up when you reach overhead or try to sleep, then your shoulder is likely the real source. And that's good news, because that means we can work with it directly.
Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside your shoulder. The shoulder is the most movable joint in your entire body, and that freedom of movement comes at a cost. 3 bones work together, held in place by muscles, tendons, and ligaments. The star of this system is the rotator cuff, a group of 4 muscles and tendons that keeps your arm bone centered in the socket while you lift, reach, and rotate. Most everyday shoulder pain in older adults falls into one of 4 categories. First, rotator cuff pain, which shows up as soreness on the front or side of the shoulder, especially when lifting your arm or lying down at night. Second, arthritis, where the joint surfaces gradually wear down, creating pain plus stiffness. Third, frozen shoulder, where the joint becomes painful and then progressively stiff over months. And fourth, referred pain from your neck, or less commonly from your heart. Understanding which bucket your pain falls into is the key to choosing the right remedy.
And here's where things get interesting. You might be surprised to learn that having a shoulder problem on a scan does not automatically mean that scan found your culprit. Research shows that over half of people aged 60 and older will show rotator cuff tears on an MRI even when they have 0 symptoms. That means the tear might just be part of normal aging, sitting quietly while something else causes your actual pain. This is why doctors emphasize looking at your symptoms and how your shoulder functions, not just what the image shows. A scan can reveal age-related wear, but it cannot tell you whether that wear is the true source of your suffering. The takeaway is simple. Don't panic over a scan. Let your symptoms guide the plan.
Right, so you've ruled out the emergencies and you're ready to do something about it. The first remedy is also the most overlooked, and it has nothing to do with pills or procedures. It's called relative rest. Here's what that means. You temporarily ease off the motions that clearly aggravate your shoulder, especially repeated overhead lifting and heavy carrying. But you do not lock the shoulder away in total stillness. You keep it gently moving through comfortable daily motions. Think of it this way: don't punish the shoulder, but don't imprison it either. Gentle movement during the first few days of a flare-up actually protects you from one of the worst outcomes, frozen shoulder. So what should you do? Back off the aggravating activities, keep moving gently, and let your shoulder tell you its comfort zone. Range of motion exercises are your friend here, and we'll get to specific ones in a moment.
But there's a trap that catches so many people, and it's hidden inside that idea of rest. When you stop moving your shoulder completely, even for a few days, the joint capsule starts to tighten. The tissues that should be slippery and flexible begin to stick together. That is exactly how a frozen shoulder begins. Many people swing from normal activity to total immobilization because the pain feels loud, and then they trade one problem for another. The research from major health organizations is clear on this point. Gentle, regular movement is the single best way to prevent stiffness from taking over. You don't need a complicated program or special equipment. You just need to keep the shoulder alive with small, tolerable motions every single day.
Now let's talk about temperature, because this is where most people go wrong. When your shoulder feels angry, hot, or swollen, especially after you've overdone it, cold is your best tool. Apply an ice pack wrapped in a towel for about 20 minutes at a time, 3 to 4 times a day. Never place ice directly on your skin. Cold calms the inflammation and takes the edge off that fresh, irritated feeling. But here's the flip side. When your shoulder feels stiff, tight, or like it's resisting your gentle stretches, switch to moist heat. A warm shower, a bath, or a heat pack can loosen those tissues and make movement feel easier. Remember this rule of thumb. Cold to calm it down, heat to loosen it up. Getting this timing right can make a dramatic difference in how fast you feel relief.
And there's one more layer to temperature therapy that most guides overlook. Heat works best when you pair it with movement. Sitting under a warm shower is comfortable, but the real benefit unlocks when you let that warmth travel into your shoulder while you gently move through a comfortable range. That combination of heat and motion is what actually breaks up stiffness. Ice, on the other hand, works best as a standalone treatment after activity. You don't stretch with ice, you apply it, rest, and let it do its job of reducing that irritated, swollen feeling. Understanding this distinction alone can save you from the frustration of using the wrong treatment at the wrong time.
Let's tackle one of the biggest complaints I hear, and that is night pain. Shoulder pain that worsens when you lie down can make you feel exhausted before the day even starts. The good news is that a simple pillow adjustment can transform your sleep without costing a thing. If you sleep on your back, tuck a pillow under your sore arm so your shoulder isn't hanging forward. This supports the joint and takes pressure off the irritated tissues. If you sleep on your side, lie on the side that does not hurt and rest the sore arm on a pillow in front of you, almost like you're hugging it. This keeps the shoulder in a neutral, comfortable position. I want you to try this tonight. Notice how a small change in positioning can make your shoulder feel supported instead of abandoned. Your body will thank you within days, not weeks.
But sleep is only half the picture. Think about what your shoulder endures during the waking hours. Most of us spend long periods sitting, reading, sewing, scrolling on our phones, or working at a computer, and during all that time, the shoulder is often hanging unsupported. That forward drop position creates a slow, steady strain that builds up without you even noticing it. By the evening, the shoulder is already fatigued before you've done anything strenuous. The fix is not perfect posture, it's periodic resets. Stand up straight with your shoulders down and gently back. Sit with a cushion behind your lower back. Rest your forearm on a cushion or armrest during the day. These small adjustments cost nothing, but they dramatically reduce the background strain that keeps your shoulder irritated long after you've finished your tasks.
Now let's move into exercises, and I'm going to start with the one I recommend to almost everyone, especially in the first days of a flare-up. It's called the pendulum, and it's beautiful in its simplicity. Lean forward and rest one hand on a counter or table. Let your sore arm hang down completely, relaxed, like a rope. Then gently swing your arm forward and back, side to side, and in small circles. The key here is to let gravity do the work. You are not using your shoulder muscles to lift the arm. The motion should be small and easy, especially at first. 2 sets of 10 repetitions, 5 to 6 days per week. This exercise looks so simple that it's almost tempting to skip it. But that's exactly why it works. It reduces fear of movement, keeps the joint lubricated, and opens the door for everything else we're about to do. Imagine yourself doing this right now, feeling that gentle swing, and notice how effortless it feels compared to forcing a stretch.
And speaking of movement, here's a truth that might surprise you. Movement is medicine for your shoulder, but reckless movement is not. There's a difference between gentle, consistent motion that keeps tissues supple and forcing the arm through painful ranges in the hope of breaking something loose. Forcing it creates inflammation. Inflammation creates stiffness. Stiffness creates more pain. That is the cycle you want to avoid. The organizations that study this most closely, from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons to the NHS, all converge on the same message. Smooth, comfortable movement done regularly beats aggressive stretching done occasionally. Your shoulder doesn't need to be conquered. It needs to be nurtured back into function.
Let's add 2 more exercises to your toolkit, and both require zero equipment. The first is the crossover arm stretch. Relax your shoulders, then gently pull one arm across your chest as far as feels comfortable, holding at the upper arm, not the elbow. Hold for 30 seconds. Relax for 30 seconds and repeat on both sides. 4 repetitions each side, 5 to 6 days per week. This targets the back of the shoulder, which is where tightness builds up from poor sleep, forward posture, and overhead reaching. The second exercise is the finger walk up the wall. Face a wall, keep your elbows straight, and use your fingers to crawl up the wall as far as comfortably possible. Hold for 10 to 20 seconds. 5 to 10 repetitions per session, 3 sessions a day. This one is brilliant because the wall guides your motion, progress is visible, and it rebuilds confidence with reaching. Watch yourself improve week by week, and let that progress fuel your motivation.
Before we wrap up, there are two quick traps I want you to watch for. First, never pull on your elbow during the crossover stretch. Pulling on the elbow can put pressure on the joint and create a pinch that you didn't have before. Always grip the upper arm. Second, if any exercise causes sharp pain, numbness, dizziness, or a clear worsening that does not settle within a few minutes, that is your shoulder speaking. Stop, rest, and reconsider. These exercises are tools, not tests. They should feel like gentle encouragement, not a struggle. And remember, exercise plans should be matched to your specific condition. If you've had a recent fall, a known tear, or surgery, individualized guidance from a professional is always the safest route.
Let's pull everything together because you've earned a clear roadmap. Your 5 natural home remedies are: temporarily reduce aggravating activities while keeping the shoulder gently moving. Use cold packs for flare-ups and swelling. Use moist heat for stiffness before stretching. Improve your sleep position with pillow support, and reset your posture throughout the day by supporting your arms. Your 3 no equipment exercises are: pendulums to start gently, the crossover arm stretch to release back shoulder tightness, and finger walks up the wall to rebuild reaching confidence. None of this requires special gear, expensive treatments, or complicated routines. What it does require is consistency. Most shoulder pain in older adults responds well to a calm, patient approach. Be that person for your shoulder. Start small, stay steady, and give your body the time it needs to heal.
One last thing before you go home. Remedies work beautifully for common, gradual shoulder pain, but they are not the answer for every situation. If your shoulder pain follows a severe fall or injury, stop and get it checked. If the shoulder is very swollen, bruised, deformed, red, or hot to the touch, that needs medical attention. If you develop a fever alongside shoulder pain, that could signal an infection. And if the pain comes with chest tightness, shortness of breath, sweating, nausea, or dizziness, don't wait. Call emergency services. Most shoulder pain can be managed calmly at home, but some shoulder pain is a red flag. Knowing the difference is what separates smart self-care from risky delay.
So here's your takeaway, and I want you to remember this clearly. Shoulder pain after 55 is common, but it is not your destiny. The mistake that keeps so many people stuck is either resting too completely and losing movement, or pushing too hard and creating more irritation. The fix that changes everything is right in the middle. Gentle, consistent movement, paired with smart use of cold and heat, better sleep positioning, and posture resets throughout the day. You already have everything you need to start tonight. That ice pack, those pillows, that wall in your hallway. Your shoulder has been trying to tell you something all along. Now you finally know how to listen. Take a deep breath, start with the pendulum, and trust the process. Your independence is worth the effort.